Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is the second part of my series of videos made for made for the purpose to explain my students how to attempt paper 3. And I have mentioned in the last part of the first in the last part of my in my last video about the general misjudgments which can be done by the student or a candidate while attempting exam practical exam. And this is all about what I figured out how many types of there are different types of physical quantities will be given to you for measurements, for collecting their values, for collecting the data, for the requirement of paper. So this is a list here in which I have mentioned about how to measure length. The misjudgment can be happen related to the measuring lengths, related to mass, weight and force, similarly time period or time of activity, measuring angles, and measuring current voltages from digital meters or analog meters, about measuring the volumes of liquid, about about estimating the percentage uncertainty in a measured value, and then linking the calculated values of k, the constant, and testing against the criteria specified by a candidate, about how to write the limitation of the procedure and possible improvement that could be made to the experiment. So now we will exclusively talk about measuring lengths, how we are going to measure a length and write down the answer in the question paper. And for this I have taken several examples from the past year questions and try to understand or try to clear this idea of measuring length. Okay, so now first of all, measuring lengths and distances, you should have a meter ruler or either a half meter ruler or a 15 centimeter ruler provided for measuring lengths and heights and distances. And now I think everyone knows the idea of a meter ruler, how to use it. It is not a rocket science. But in paper 3, when you are using a meter ruler, either a 100 cm or a 50 cm or a 30 cm ruler, the most important thing is that how you are going to write a measured value in your copybook. That is very, very important. Either you are measuring height, length, or distance. The most important thing, the way of writing the answer will give this realization to the examiner that you know how to write a measured value. For instance, this is a reference from October November 2010, paper 33, question number 1. I hope many of you have attempted this question during your practice session. Well, this is one of the situation in which we have a pendulum bob hanging through a clamp and iron stand, and the distance x between the center of the bob and the bench should be approximately 5 centimeter. The value of x should be 5 centimeter, and there is another value for h. And I have specifically taken this area that you are going to write down the value for x. Now surprisingly, can you see they have already mentioned the answer of 5, the x is 5 centimeter. So instantly the weaker candidate or those who have not prepared themselves enough for the exams might take this advantage that they know the answer, so they instantly write 5 centimeter, which is a wrong way, and you will definitely lose a mark. In the next slide I will show you 4 options for the value of x, how it going to be right in the paper, which one is correct. Now I have mentioned 4 options here for the value of x: 5 cm, 4.9 cm, 4.9, 5.0 cm, and 4.50 cm. I think everyone knows when you are using the meter ruler, either it's 100, again 50 or 30 cm, the precision of ruler is a standard which is zero point 0.1 centimeter 0.001 meter or 1 millimeter. These are the three standards for writing or recording a value of x and h, or measuring the height or distances or lengths in an appropriate way. That is, when you are using, again, if I just go over here, the value of x, I need to write the answer in this space, and there is no unit mention. So if I write the answer like this way, 4.9 means on one decimal place. It means I am following the precision of a ruler, but I'm not writing a unit here. So it means I will lose a mark. Over here, I am using a unit, but I forgot one thing, and that I just took this information as an advantage and I write down the answer 5 cm, but it hasn't have a proper decimal place, which is supposed to be 1. And in the last option, unit is also there, decimal places are also there, but again they are inappropriate. Reason, they are 2 for cm, and while for centimeter we are just expecting a 1 decimal place. So the righteous answer is right now, if I highlight this one, is 5 cm. Okay, so you need to focus on two things: an appropriate level of decimal place and a proper unit. This is an exam question, guys. They haven't mentioned you a unit over here. You can see that. Now let me tell you a contradiction. I used to call it khula tazad. Look at another question. You have to find a length of a pendulum. This is a reference from October-November 2008, paper 31. Again, a pendulum is there. And they are expecting a value of L in a range of 0.5 meter. This is the space where you are going to write an answer. And look at here, the unit is already given. So now from here, I concluded one thing, that sometimes examiner try to play with you guys in exam. For a one particular quantity, they might not mention a unit. It means you have to mention a unit, right? And if they have mentioned a unit, you do not have to mention a unit. You are just going to write down the answer. So now can anyone guess which one is correctly written for the value of L? Let me highlight for you. This is the only option written in a proper way of how we are going to give a full credit to a candidate for this particular mark. Okay, this one. Because for meter, I just explained in this slide, for meter, we are expecting 3 decimal places. So it means when I'm going to write a value for meter, I am expecting 3 decimal places. Here is a 1 decimal place and a unit against a unit is written. So unit over unit will definitely, you will lose a mark. Again, somebody can take advantage from the paper that it is already written that meter comes with 2 decimal place and a meter comes with 1 decimal place. So guys, this is a data provided to you. Examiner can manipulate the data, but you guys are expecting, we are expecting from you guys, you are supposed to measure it first, put down the decimal place according to the unit, and then write the final answer. So see, this is totally incorrect way. Again, an incorrect way and an incorrect way. The only corrected method is the 0.512 3 decimal places and no unit is required. Means if you write unit over here, again unit over unit, definitely you will lose a mark. So you should remember, if the unit is mentioned, then you should recall your memory for what particular level of decimal places are expected for that unit. I hope you understand this. All right. So this is about the, like the idea of writing the value for length or a height or a distance. Well, another example from 2010 October November series paper 34. A wooden strip, which is in fact a meter rule, was provided and has to be mounted on a like a beaker. This was a beaker in the exam, which was placed on a board and fixed up with the modeling clay so that the beacon won't deviate here and there. And then you have to put a scale, a meter rule, over that beaker, right, and try to balance it. And then once you done this, it was given in the question, the details which I'm just telling you, they all are given in the question paper. Then you have to find the height h1 and h2. And see here, you are having two boxes. It means examiner is expecting 2 marks for writing the value of h1 and h2. If you just make apply your common sense, if a ruler is balanced on a support, the edge height, either from the left hand side or from the right hand side, must be, I'm just giving you an example, okay, a rough value, like say 3.9 or maybe a 3.8, or perhaps 3.9 and 3.9. Because when you are attempting it in a real dynamics, while standing in a lab, you have a real scale in your hand, you try to balance it. Obviously, do not forget, you are living in an environment where there are so many like distortions available. There will be a wind blowing, all right, the presence of air. Similarly, the hand vibration, a little bit vibration at the board, or sorry, on the bench surface, at the bench surface. So we are might expecting a little bit difference in h1 and h2, and see exactly how the mark scheme is suggesting for this particular part of question. See, this is a reference from the mark scheme. Measurements for h1 and h2 should be to the nearest millimeter. Again, centimeter is mentioned, and for centimeter we are expecting a 1 decimal place value, or 1 dp. So if you forget to write a dp, you will lose a mark. And then a difference of h1 h2 is expected, because this diagram right now, which is figure 1.2, is a systematic diagram printed in your examination booklet. But in real, you have a but in actual, you have a real scale in your hand, a real board, a real bench, and when you try to balance it, you might have a little bit, like this ruler is a sort of a banded, or maybe a torn, because it is not necessary that you will be given a brand new ruler. It might be used many time or several time before this exam in the regular routine classes. So perhaps it might be a little, like banded. So you will definitely facing a problem of getting the value of h1 and h2. So that's why this is in the mind of examiner, that he is also expecting a little bit difference in a value of h1 and h2. Hence you will get a second mark for this. So these are some of the examples in which you may have learned how to write down the answers for measuring, once first measuring the length and then writing the answer. We are only expecting two things, guys: a proper decimal place against a unit, or you can also say that a precision level must match with the unit, and the precision level match is over here, you can see. All right. So this is all done about the idea of dealing with the heights, distances, and lengths. Inshallah, in my next video I will going to cover the idea of weight, force, time period, and time of activity, and so on. Then, all right. So see you soon. Again, do not forget to subscribe my channel so that you will have a notification whenever I posted. I will post any informative details about the exam questions and other related stuff. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.